Yamaha Warrior front end alignment. Number one, I pull it into the garage. I have to find a point in the center of the front and the center in the back. I hung a plumb bob from my hoist to the center of this bolt right in front of it. I will use the Zerk fitting that is in the center of the back axle carrier and use that as the center axis along the center of the machine. I'll use this grain laser and set him up. I'm going to have to wait till after the sun goes down to where it shines a line straight down and hits that Zerk fitting and also hits that plumb bob line. And I hope I'll be able to see that line underneath the four-wheeler. So I can set, this is a red laser line, this is another red laser line. So I will set them up to shine a light equal distant from the center line, which will be projected underneath it from the green, out to a line here. And I'll measure the difference from the center line out to here and the center line out to here so that I know that this line is exactly parallel to the central axis of the machine. I'll do the same thing on the other side. I'll get them as close to the back wheel as I can where it shines along here. And once I get those lines lined up to where this line and one on the other side are equal distance from the center out to where they shine across the floor, then I can measure the distance from that line to that part of the hub and that part of the hub and set the toe. And I'll do the same thing on this side. So I'll get the handlebars exactly straight. The handlebars are straight right now. It looks like the wheels are actually turned this way just a little bit. That'll be corrected. So I'll set the toe angle, and I think that's it as far as setting up the suspension on this thing. Okay, so now you can see I've got the laser set up back here. You can see the line going through, and it lines up to the center of that Zerk fitting, through the center of the quad, and on that plumb line coming down from the ceiling that is above that bolt that's in the center of the quad. And we've got, if I can turn this down. Okay, now we got the laser. You can see the laser really well. Okay, so the center of that Zerk fitting. I don't know if you can see the Zerk fitting or not. I think you can. You go right through the center of that Zerk fitting. It goes up and hits this line that's hanging from the top there, which is aligned with, shit, there's just not enough light out here. But the laser line does go all the way from the front to the back, and it is lined up with the inner axis of the quad. I've got to make sure I don't bump that laser in any way. So now I'll set these guys up. I don't know if you can see those lines. If they go along the quad, I don't think you can see it. There's one on the left side and one on the right side. And I will line them up with a tape measure equal distance from the center laser line. Uh-oh, shit, I just bumped that thing. It's still on it. It's still on it. Cool. Okay. So there's a red line on the right-hand side. There's a red line on the left-hand side. And a green line in the center. I will align those guys with a tape measure where they're equal distant from the center to the... Okay, this thing is set and towed in to about 3/32 of an inch. That's a 32nd over 1/16. But I believe it's gonna, I hope it's gonna work out okay. This thing was pretty far out. It was towed out quite a ways, which may have added to its inability to control well. So this is what it is. There's a red laser there shining right down through here. And I used a square to set distances front and back of the rim. Did the same thing over here because that is exactly parallel to the center axis of the quad. And set it. And then I checked the distance between the inside of the tires in the front and the inside of the tires to the back. And set the toe to about 3/32. So we're going to go try it out and see how it runs. Adjusting the toe angle on these things is actually real simple. I just used an adjustable wrench, and on this tie rod there's a flat spot on it. Stuck an adjustable wrench on it. Well, if I can go the right way. Where that holds the tie rod straight. And then there's a nut on either end of it that's just snugged down. It's a cinch nut. And that's 12 millimeter. So you break that loose, take this nut loose, and that nut up there loose, back them up the stems, and then you can turn this right here, and it will increase or decrease the distance between the steering knuckle and your wheel. You see the threads on it. That one's pretty far out. That one up there is pretty far out. But that's how you adjust the angle of the wheel, or the toe angle. And what I did is I set the handlebars exactly straight as I could get them by eyeball. And I set my laser lines up along the line here. And then set this one exactly straight with the laser line. And then I kicked it in about 3/32, about 1/32 of an inch. And then I did the same thing to the other side, and when I kicked it in, it actually turned out, I tried to go for about a 1/16 of an inch toe in, but I ended up at 3/32 total, so it went a little bit over. It's a little bit touchy when you do that stuff. So, I mean, it's not my race car or anything, it's a quad, and it's going to be in the dirt. So I think that 1/32, which is 32 thousandths of an inch, that probably is going to be okay. I rode it on the pavement, and it rode just great. And the thing's got stupid power. As little as I've ridden this thing in the past 15 years, I've had this thing, I can't remember, it's either 12 or 15 years, I forget now how long. But I've never done much anything to that motor except put a new carb on it. That's it. Change the oil and filter. Change the plug. And it runs like a scalded dog. Second gear, I can pull the clutch in a little bit and pop it, and that front wheels will try to come off the ground. This thing is just ridiculously fast. I can't imagine people that have those, that go hundreds of miles an hour. This thing out here is crazy. I love it. Yeah, boy, it runs nice. And it handles very well. Steers straight, handlebars are straight. And it's not sitting sideways like it used to. It's sitting straight. I believe I'm in really good shape with this thing. Awesome.